You need the gavel. On yours.
Ready? Oh, no.
Good morning. It's 9:31. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the May 7th Committee of the Whole. I'm your chair, Councilor Castro Liu. All right, so let's start by council announcements. Any council announcements? Deputy Mayor Chen?
Godwin Chen is my name. Yes, right. Didn't expect to be called first. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It has been a busy weekend. I'm sure that all my colleagues have been very busy, but when in particular, at the end of, almost the end, on Sunday, I've joined a good number of community volunteers planting trees, actually in Calville Park in Ward 5. But it's also, it not only is tree planting as a community, but also I honestly feel that the spirit, and I'm so happy to see the mayor was there as well. So that was a good exercise, at least for me, on a Sunday. In addition, the month of May, among many things, is the Asian Heritage Month. And it so happens in Richmond Hill, there's a particular exhibit called Standing in the Doorway. We're talking about or describing about the history and experiences of the Chinese community, in particular in York region. All the difficulties and they have gone through for a long time. And it's actually at our very own display at Richmond Hill Heritage Center. I understand the Heritage Center is open on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And I encourage members community, if you have the time and chance, go to visit Heritage Center, which is a lovely place to go to. In addition, there's opportunity to look at. On one hand, I see the exhibit as a dark history of Canada in terms of anti-Chinese discrimination. On the other hand, it's also something for all of us to learn and move forward in a very truly diverse society. So thank you, Mr. Chair, for me to share those. Happy month for May. Happy Mother's Day coming up too. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Councilor Thompson.
Thank you very much. Through the chair, I just wanted to give a shout out to our events team who helped me put on a skating event back on April the 27th, and it really turned out well. They made sure that everything happened without a problem, all audio, sound, equipment, all that type of stuff. Not always an easy feat when you're trying to deal with two rooms. You got the actual rink itself, and then you've got the Richmond Hill room where we also had prizes and socialization and food and stuff like that. So again, I just want to give a big shout out to our event staff for helping that happen without a hitch.
Thank you, Councilor Tree.
Okay, thank you so much, Councilor Liu. So I do have a few announcements. Maybe let me start from the door opening Richmond Hill. So this Sunday, we're gonna have door opening for entire Richmond Hill. So all the residents welcome, bring your kids, family to visiting our heritage, learn our history as well. So you're welcome. It's on May 10th, this is Saturday. Second one is for, hold on, too many things. Oh, thank you. Last week for our Earth Week, we did have a few events happening at DDO and also our library. Thank you for our staff to put efforts to demonstrate the importance of Earth and also birds. As you know, City Richmond Hill is really the bird-friendly city. So last week in the library, we host our bird-friendly demonstrations. A lot of kids showed up. Great. Thank you so much for our staff. Also, there's another few of them. So last weekend, so our firefighters organized the charity booths for the muscular destroy Canada. So thank you so much for our firefighters. I believe that to this event, I believe majority of the councilor were there as well. Next one will be the Senjang Cadet. So Senjang Cadet hosts a food bank drive in Ward 4 last week at Southeast, which is close to my home. Thank you so much for Senjang Cadet as well to helping our kids too. I'm not finished yet. Also, so in Ward 4, we have a company name as AMR, who is our local business, and they will hold a volleyball tournament charity events for Yellow Brick. So for the not homeless, for the families who has violence for women and children. So that be scheduled on May 31. So if anyone have interest, please join this volleyball beach to support our charities. Another one is for the seed swap. So there will be at the Class B 45 on May, I think it's May, hold on May. So yeah, May 12. So if you are interested in planting any plants or flowers at your front yard, backyard, please join this event as well. There's another event I want to announce. So last week, Richmond High School, they made musical trip to Boston. So they played 3 musical band and they win first place and the second place. So kudos for the teachers, also the students work so hard. So next week, they're gonna join the national competitions in UOT as well. So thank you so much for the teachers from our BRDSB, especially for the kids and families who study in the Richmond High. So proud of you, kudos. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Regional and Local Councilor DePaula joining us online. Good morning.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just want to give a shout out. This upcoming Sunday is Mother's Day. I want to say Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers in Richmond Hill. It's the hardest job, probably the lowest paying and the longest hours, and there's no breaks or vacations. And all the mothers in Richmond Hill, I wish you all the best on Sunday. And I want to say a special Happy Mother's Day to my mother, who's at West Park Health Center, and I know she's watching from her room as she does all of our meetings. Happy Mother's Day, Mom.
Thank you. Next, we have Mayor West.
Well, I'll start off by saying Happy Mother's Day to Joe's mom. I thank you for that. Just a couple of things. I wanted to just give a shout out to the Corpus Christi School, Catholic School Foundation, or community, for their 25th anniversary. Councillor Thompson and I had the pleasure of being there yesterday to celebrate Mass with them, and also a little celebration that they had to commemorate their 25 years of doing great things in our community, like so many of our schools, all of our schools do in Richmond Hill. I'd also like to give a shout out to the Potters Guild, who had their annual show and sale this weekend. I know that many of us on council were invited to come and do our pick for the show, and they had those on display. And there were some really lovely pieces of work that are produced by our Richmond Hill Potters. And then the final thing, I just wanted to say, given the comments I made the other day about the Leafs, I am now on the bandwagon. And I appreciate that Councillor Thompson, who is a diehard Leaf fan, I know, has helped me with a step stool to get onto the bandwagon. And I'm just hoping and praying that they don't hurt my feelings like they've done so many times before in my life. So go Leafs, go.
Thank you. And the good news is I heard that Stolarz is the goalie tonight. So he's back. He's back. All right. All right. Last but not least, and I think we should start charging by the minutes, Mr. Clerk. Councillor Tree would like a second round. Go ahead. Okay. Wow. Not me. You said no. All right. Maybe next time. All right. Thank you very much. Okay. So introduction of emergency time-sensitive matters. Seeing none, adoption of the agenda. We have no committee regrets, 8 agenda items, 1 public hearings, no presentations, no delegations, and 2 members motion. Can I have a motion to adopt the agenda? Councillor Silivitz, all those in favor? Carry unanimously. Disclosures of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof. Seeing none. Identification of items requiring separate discussion. Anyone would like to pull anything? Except for the two-member motions? And 8.1 public hearings. Seeing none. All right. So we have no public that would like to speak to the tax adjustment, the public hearings, right? Do I still have to ask, Mr. Clerk? Go ahead.
If I might, Mr. Chair, I would suggest that at this stage, you might want to entertain a motion to adopt those items not separated for discussion.
Absolutely. Okay.
And if
So,
I could then also take an opportunity just to clarify that if if committee is adopting item 11.2, the site alteration permit process, that would be adopting with the additional recommendations contained in the memo. Just for clarity's sake. Yeah.
okay, thank you. As long as everybody understand, I need a motion to Councillor Mayor West. All those in favor? Carry unanimously. All right, so next is the two-member motions. So, the public hearing. Okay, sorry. So any member of the public would like to speak to the item 8.1? Going once, going twice, seeing none. Okay, Mayor West would like to move item 8.1. All those in favor? Carry unanimously. All right, so we go straight to 12.1, member motion by Regional and Local Councillor DePaula. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I don't know if the clerk wants to put the motion on the screen. You have it as a part of your agenda. The purpose of this is to give us more time to hear from our residents. I think we definitely need to have another round of public consultation before the implementation. This council's already given direction to our staff, and they've been put in a sort of difficult position. There's a lot of pressure coming from the administrators for this program. It's actually the city of Newmarket that's going to be administering this, and they want to coordinate and know where they stand and get things set up to begin the ASE auto speed enforcement program. But I think it's just time for council to reflect a little bit before we go forward on this. I want to share with other members the reaction that I've received from the implementation of regional cameras. There's 3 regional speed cameras in Richmond Hill, and I'm not sure if you're also getting the same feedback, or if the complaints and concerns are being funneled to the regional councilors. But there's been a little bit of backlash, and certainly some upset residents that they're getting ticketed. In one case, a gentleman was ticketed 3 times before he received the notice in the mail that he had violated the speed limit. There's multiple instances where residents are doing exactly 70 kilometers an hour in a 50, and it's $180 ticket. So Leslie, for example, 70 kilometers, and then it changes to 50 kilometers an hour in front of Richmond Green High School, and that's where there's an automated speed enforcement by the region. So if you're doing just the speed limit of 70 and you don't slow down when you enter that 50 kilometer zone, you're getting a ticket for doing 70 and a 50, and it's not excusable. But if it were an officer, a York Region police officer, there'd be some discretion, there'd be some understanding. The officer could watch as the vehicle does in fact get themselves down to 50 or 55 through the school zone, and they wouldn't be pouncing on that person for technically not doing 70 when they entered the school zone. And the officers can use some discretion, and these speed cameras are fraught with difficulties. A lot of times the person getting the ticket is not even the one driving the car; they're the owners of the vehicle. We know that there's a perception out there, and I've had residents describe them to me as cash grab cameras, and there's a lot of concern out there. So I'm just saying, let's take some sober second thought before this implementation. My motion is to delay the deployment and the implementation of the local automated speed enforcement program for members of council to give it some thought, talk to their residents, talk to those that are already have some experience with the regional automated speed enforcement program and whether or not it works. And I don't want anyone to misunderstand. I'm so grateful for all of the speed measures that we've put in our local roads, all the ways in which we're trying to make our community safety zones safer. I'm all for doing whatever it takes for safety in front of our schools. But with regards to this program, I think we just need to give it some more thought before its implementation. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I
Thank
move
you.
the motion on the screen.
Thank you very much. So we have a motion by regional and local Councillor DePaula. 12.1 is on the floor right now. So the second speaker is Councillor Tree, and then Councillor Silivitz.
Okay, thanks so much, Mr. Chair. So thank you for our regional councillor, DiPaolo, bringing up this topic again. So I just want to repeat the schedule based on last year's approval. 2025 Q1 to Q3, they're gonna have a lot of events happening around this ASM program, including executive necessary agreement, the purchasing of software, etc. So 2025 Q4, which is in around winter time, there will be locations we're going to approve, and 2026 we're going to put the budgeting, and Q1 we're going to start it. So 2026 Q2 the AES will go live. To be honest, for now it's May, so Q2 next year will be more than 1 year. During this 1 year, we have tons of time to educate, to send notice to our residents. So from my residents' perspective, I heard a lot of good feedback regarding the traffic controls recently in the past 2 years. And when I bring this automation detecting system, especially to the school areas, wow, a lot of parents are really looking for it. So from, at least in Ward 4, from feedback I got, so everybody looking forward to this solution to put forward to easy and calm down the traffic, especially near school areas. So when I talk with parents leaving to the school, I got tons of complaints. So the feedback maybe regional councillor got is quite different with me. So I will not support this motion, delay that. I was looking for maybe speed up a little bit, not delay. That's my feedback from my residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Silivitz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning. I will support this motion in front of us. I think it's always a good idea to give our residents a little bit more time to become better informed and to better associate themselves with specific bylaws. I fully support these cameras, but what I believe that the region can do better is informing the public, because it's not up to us, it's up to the region. These are regional cameras. When it comes to the municipality, that's a different story. So I got the most complaints from my residents about the camera on Carville Avenue Road. They were furious that there was a camera that's right outside the school. that there was a camera there, and that they got fined. So my response to people are, I have sympathy for you, and I understand your concerns, but this is not a cash grab for the region or the municipality. What this is us trying to make our roads safer. That's the bottom line. We're trying to make our roads safer for everybody in a vehicle and all pedestrians. That's why we have these cameras. And the fact that we have to have these cameras or have police sitting at intersections is because people do not obey the rules of the road. So my answer to a number of people, respectfully, is when they say, well, what must I do? My answer is don't speed. Obey the rules of the road. They're there for a reason. It's not just speeding. I mean, yesterday, just on a personal note, when I was coming to the office, driving down Spadina between Waldrick and 16th, there was a woman in front of me in an SUV. She rolled through every single stop street. Every single stop street. She did not come to a full and total stop. And you are supposed to do that. Your wheels are supposed to stop rolling, and then you can go. Just because you don't see anybody else on the intersecting sides, it doesn't mean you can roll through. It says stop. So I agree with this simply because it'll give us more time, and hopefully everybody can become better adapted. And what I would also say to the public is, should everybody obey the rules of the road and not speed, the rules of the road and the Highway Traffic Act, and not speed, then perhaps these cameras will not be necessary. But at this point in time, they obviously are necessary. And they're not there as, like I said at the beginning, they're not there as an I gotcha moment. They are there for very specific purposes. They are in front of schools, libraries, and community centers. So if you think about that, if you just give that a little bit of thought, I think that most people, I would assume everybody, would understand why those cameras are there. Because the last thing we need is somebody killed at one of the intersections near a school or a community center or a library. And, if on Carville it says do 50, and then some says do 40, do 50 and 40. There's absolutely no reason to speed down these roads. So thank you to Regional Councillor De Paolo for bringing this forward. But I hope that somewhere along the line, our residents, all residents, begin to understand that this is for the protection of everybody, not for the gotcha of everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Councillor Davidson.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair, I have some questions for staff. And I agree we're going to get backlash. I mean, it's never a good time to install these cameras and have people upset. But this council's committed to traffic safety, and I think we've done more in the last 2 years to make our streets safer, and we continue to do that. So through you, Mr. Chair, I have a couple of questions for staff, starting with, we've already committed and spent a substantial amount of money on this, right? I feel like we're backtracking, but we've already committed to the speed cameras, isn't that right? And have we ordered them and it's all in place for the most part financially anyway?
Through you, Mr. Chair, we have a budget allocated, a capital amount allocated to configure software for the purposes of enforcing the ASEs. But I think that's the only amount of money we've spent at this time, and we've only spent a small portion of that.
Through you, Mr. Chair, but to have the cameras by next year, have we put in an order, or have we moved forward as if those cameras are physically going to be available next year?
Through you, Mr. Chair, so the plan is to piggyback on Newmarket's group buying RFP, so we haven't actually put any money into it yet.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. So there's no financial penalty for us to delay it?
That's correct.
Thank you. I do think that part of the problem, definitely, and we've all recognized this with the regional cameras, is they were just, there might be a little sign, but there really wasn't a huge education. I never received anything in the mail, and I mean, we need huge signs, a big education bump to let people know. But would there be anything, would it be possible through you, Mr. Chair, to issue, let's say the first 2 months or the first 3 months, all tickets are a warning and saying, you know, on November 1st, these are going to be real, but had you, you know, just know that what you were doing in that school zone would have gotten you a ticket. Is it a big deal to send like a substantial period of time of warnings? Because we've just heard that it can take 3 tickets before you even know you got the first one. So could we have an extended period of time of warning tickets? Is that expensive and is it possible?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I believe we heard that from council when the report previously came forward, and that is our plan, a 30 to 90-day warning period. We haven't decided on the exact amount of days.
Oh, sorry, through you, Mr. Chair. So you mean we could start the program and for 30 to 90 days, people will only receive warnings? Okay, I think that's a great solution. I think we could keep the schedule we're on, but people won't actually get a ticket till maybe a few months later, because I do think these cameras change behavior, and that's the whole point. So sitting on it means we're kicking down the can down the road even longer to have people drive more safely in community safety zones. We're kicking the can down the street longer to have people slow down in schools areas. So I feel like there's some fine tuning to do, but I think we can stay the course and bring people along with us rather than have this necessarily looking as a punitive measure. So I'm going to vote no, but I appreciate the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Thompson.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Councillor Davidson, for taking my question away. Yeah, no, that was, I definitely wanted to know if there was going to be some sort of plans that when the program started, whether it would be a grace period, and you've answered that, and I definitely appreciate that. But it does beg another question that we're piggybacking on Newmarket. If we were to take this course, would that not then impact Newmarket?
Through you, Mr. Chair. Well, Newmarket has set up a JPC, a Joint Processing Center, and they have their camera vendor already. We're not aware of any impacts or problems. I did ask them the question. They said, you start when you want to start.
I see. Thank you very much, through the chair. So it sounds like they, you know, whether we were on board or not, it wasn't going to make any difference to them, if I'm hearing you correctly.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I think their preference would be to have additional municipalities sooner rather than later, but they are operating either way, so.
Okay, and probably from the standpoint that there could be benefits through the bulk procurement process through the chair.
Through you, Mr. Chair, yeah. So they would obviously have efficiency thresholds. The more tickets they're processing, they get better efficiencies, and their program would be closer to offsetting any costs. So it might be beneficial, but we're not the only municipality they're talking to. So I don't think it's a significant concern for them.
Right. No, much appreciated. I appreciate the answers. This is a difficult one for me. Yes, I know there's going to be backlash. I know it's going to be in both directions. I mean, at the moment, I'm not sure where I'm at, if it's 50-50, 60-40, what I'm hearing either direction. I'm certainly hearing it from both directions. Certainly from the regional roads, I hear the people saying, you know, that we're talking high school students, you know, what, you know, they're not the ones that we're worried about. You know, it's a, you know, they know the rules of the road by then. And I'm going, it's interesting because I see it the other way. The public schools are the ones where the kids still have it ingrained in their heads to look both ways before they cross the road and so forth. When you get to high school, every kid is looking down at their phone and they've got hoodies on and they don't see from one side to the other. quite frankly, the regional road is definitely, the place where it's needed the most, and people need to obey the rules, as Councillor Sullivan said. But again, I'm hearing a lot where people want to know, when are we going to do this? They need it in their immediate neighborhoods, and that's what I'm hearing in my neighborhood. I'm still slightly undecided, because I certainly hear the other side of the story, people saying the same things. But again, if there is going to be a grace period, and the whole idea is to change the behaviors, I think I'm leaning towards wanting to see this sooner than later. Those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more speakers on the first round? Mayor West.
Thank you. So this has been a good discussion so far. I appreciate that. Thank you, colleagues. But I'll support the motion, but I'm supporting it tentatively, because there's a number of kind of things that are sticking with me that are concerning. I get it that it's a real bummer to get a ticket. I mean, nobody likes that. It feels very like a personal affront when people get a ticket. I mean, I have got the odd one in my lifetime. I get it. But these speed cameras, and I've talked to the region about this, the speed cameras are working. We had 40% compliance when the cameras were rolled out. Now we have 70% compliance. That's really good. The other thing that they're doing is that they're allowing the police resources, the officer that's going to be there with the radar gun, instead of them sitting there all day, they can go do the things which goodness knows in our communities nowadays we need them to do. And most importantly, community safety and crime and investigations and all that other stuff that we're really relying on our police forces right now to help us through, because community safety is a really big issue. I mean, people say, well, the cameras are a cash grab. I would argue that having police officers sit there all day and, do a few tickets here and there is actually a tax grab. So, I mean, it cuts both ways. An important thing that I need to publicize is that it's been shown that the risk of injury at 40 kilometers an hour is about 25%. But the risk of injury at 80 kilometers an hour is 93%. So that, and further to what Councillor Thompson was saying, around these cameras are not everywhere. I mean, they're around places where there are vulnerable people. And high school students, I would argue, are in that category. In fact, I would argue that high school students are not supervised by teachers and parents when they're out going for lunch, whereas elementary school kids are probably more supervised. So the other thing I want to mention is that when you get a ticket from a speed camera, you're not going to lose points, and your insurance company is not going to find out. So you're not at risk of having your insurance go up. If you're getting a ticket from a police officer, which is the alternative, okay, you could be losing points, and it is possible that your insurance company will find out, and it will infect your insurance rates. What we're talking about in the rollout of this program is speed cameras in Richmond Hill streets, not regional streets. Most of our schools are on those interior streets. So there are vulnerable road users all throughout our communities. So I think that situation and the speed camera program there is different than the speed camera program on regional roads, which are major thoroughfares. And I think it's important to know that whether we like these cameras or not, and I have mixed views of them too, we hear from people a lot about road safety. And this is it's only a part, but it's part of a comprehensive safety plan, which, by the way, we've worked very hard on this in this council term to also do other things to be more proactive about road safety. So, when it comes to safety, I think we really need to think, are we in or are we out? I mean, there's no halfway here. Half of the collisions are speed related. That's a statistic. The average ticket that's been given out in Richmond Hill is 19 kilometers an hour over. That's the average. So that means a good number of them are more than 19 kilometers over. That's a problem. Just for interest, the maximum speed ticket that was given was 219 kilometers an hour on Bayview in front of Our Lady, Queen of the World. That's outrageous, right? So I am you know, I have mixed feelings, and I actually appreciate Regional Councillor DePaulo to bring this out. I think the advantages here are it does give us more time to work out the details, have a public education campaign, make sure some of the details are done right. Like getting 3 tickets in a row before you get your actual first ticket in the mail is unacceptable. I actually think they have addressed that concern at the region, although I don't have confirmation of that. But, you know, details like that need to be worked out because that's not fair. And it's not in the spirit of what this was all about, was to get people to slow down. And I just want to also point out that by 2027, almost every municipality that I can think of, that I know of in York Region, will have already implemented their speed camera program. So we would be the last one to do it. And the concern I have about that is that I also get people calling me up and saying, we need speed cameras, we need speed cameras, we need speed cameras. So, you know, on the one hand, I think we need to be doing this, you know, and doing it right. And that's really crucial. But on the other hand, I think we need to make sure that we get the details right. So I'll be looking forward to hearing the rest of this discussion, but I am definitely leaning in supporting this tentatively, but to use the time wisely to make sure that we roll it out really, really well and make it effective. So those are my comments. I'm looking forward to hearing the rest of the discussion.
Thank you. Regional and Local Councillor Deputy Mayor Chen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, at the regional level, there have been good discussions. At the moment, that there is, or the arcade is exclusively on regional role, I may say, and Commissioner, that is the situation, correct. I do understand the backlash, and I'm sure the mayor, myself, and probably the mover also got quite a bit of it. And I think that I totally agree that number one, let's be clear. Mayor put it very well, and also other speakers. Are we as a council here locally in support of road safety? And the professional staff, transportation who are experts in this area, they have, whether at the region as well in the city, have prepare for this. And ASE, automated speed enforcement, is one of the other tools, many tools. But it seems to be working in the sense that the mayor just gives you some, I would say, alarming statistics, but also it has been reported that, you know, at least reduce, you know, you can look at the percentage, but anywhere from, you know, close to a half and even more percentage in terms of reducing collision. I mean, that's the objective. So I don't want in any way, whatever outcome of this motion would in any way be interpreted that is either this council or, well, we cannot speak for the region, is not really continue the path as recommended by our professional staff. That's the way to improve traffic safety and also back up with data. Having said that, I do see and agree that at this point in time, whether the region or in the city in the future, there need to be improvement. One of the concern is, and the mayor touched on it, is that the time it took seems to quite a while before you actually get that ticket in the mail. And then you might get a few tickets after you get your first one, and then only come later. So that's something need to be looked at. So the turnaround of that, because in the meantime, it's only going by mail. But it's not for us here to decide, but there are opportunity to improve the expediency in terms of more prompt the notification. And there's no doubt, and I agree with Councillor Davidson, changing behavior. Most of the cities, well, streets in Toronto are now having ASE. And I have experience whether I'm traveling on Steeles, Finch, Shepherd, and the other road. Drivers are slowing down. The behavior takes time. So I have a bit of challenge of supporting it, but I understand the mover where it's coming from. But in the interim, through you, Mr. Chair, in accordance with our schedule implementation time, what are the plans? I think we have seen it before, but if you help I don't know, it's the city manager or commissioner can share with us or remind us what have been the plans in terms of communication before the scheduled implementation. So, Mr. Chair, education is the key, no doubt about it. So what's the plan, Mr. Chair?
Commissioner Steels?
Through you, Mr. Chair. So the report that we were planning to do later this year was going to detail a comprehensive community awareness plan. We have started talking about some things. Newmarket actually, in partnering with them, one of the services they offer is assistance in designing a communication plan based on the things that they've already learned from theirs. We would certainly be looking to broadly increase awareness using signage, the website, social media, all of those things that are typical, but I don't have the actual details of the plan yet because that's the timeline that we're on, planned to be finalized in a few months.
Okay, so we don't have the final details, but I got it. But I think it's important, and I think we probably all members of the committee would education is key. Nobody likes to get a ticket, period. On the other hand, some, I'm not going to mention the source, people saying, well, if you're observing the rules of the road, you won't get it. So that's where it is. And I do understand in that sense that this is only relating to the implementation for the city road. But the regional road is going on. At this point in time, I can see the idea, the mover, I got it, to give a bit more time for the city to educate people. And on that note, I do have reservations, but I would support it at this time. There's something that region need to be done is among three of us at the region, maybe to push harder there. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Councillor Shiu.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In my opinion, firstly, I believe this ASD program is a positive initiative to ensure public safety. If some of our neighbors see it as a way to generate revenue, I would counter that. If you follow the traffic rules, nobody can take money from your pocket. That's easy to understand. And also, I do believe educating the public is an ongoing effort. It doesn't matter to prolong it 1 year or 2 year long, because what our job is to educating and communicating with the people, to educate them the importance of public safety on the road. So actually, we are always ready to address any concerns and inquiries from our neighbors. So I don't see any valid reason to delay or postpone the implementation of this ASD program. I think sooner or later, we will implement this. Education is always ongoing, is underway always. So I'm so sorry, unfortunately, I won't support this motion, and I prefer keeping this program on schedule. That's my all comments. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So before I go to the second round, I'm going to say a few things. I think the magic word of today is grace period. I think this is more than enough. And I agree totally with Councillor Shiu that, public education is ongoing. There's never enough time. And I think, the backlash is from our residents, but I think we are not targeting our own residents. We're targeting the people, the drivers that are not from our community. The Uber drivers, the delivery trucks, and all those people, and to protect our own residents, protect our own students. And we already have, road paintings on slow down and everything, and signage, and I think it's good. I honestly, I appreciate the initiative, but I don't see the need to postpone this because my residents is looking forward to seeing these cameras in the neighborhood. So, I won't be able to support this motion. So going to the second round, Councillor Tree.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to add another comment here. So ticketing is also another education process. Is that going to be a final payment determined by us? So what I want to say is the most complaint from the residents who got the ticket is because they're going to pay the money. But from city perspective, it's our council decision. Should we lift up the payment or not, right? So as long as the tools are there, there's a warning, people see it, and the people see something's on the street, they're gonna pay attention. The second part will be, this is our determination. Should we start to fine them or not? If they receive tickets 3 months straightforward, 6 months straightforward, I don't think that's really a good approach for them. So end of the day, if the tools are there, we can collect how many tickets we issued. There's no penalties. So that's also an education for our residents. Oh, you got ticket this time being because we initiated that one, we not give you the fine, right? I think the most concern is the residents say, oh, I got the fine, I don't want to pay for it. That is okay. Determines on us. So if we run 3 months, councilors say, this is not good. We receive tons of complaints. Okay, let's continue the extension for another 6 months without pay, without any money payment. If the people still offended after planned 3 months, we do have the controls on our council's hand. But tools are there. So we're gonna watch, monitoring, and education. And later on, we come back, we can determine should we pay, ask them to pay money or not. That determines on us, so we can have more powers, more controls over there. But the tools are already in place. So I think there's gonna be, first one is more visibility for the people who are offended, driving crazy. The second one is also a good education process. If they get tickets continually 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 5, right? Then time being, oh, I should pay attention because there's no penalty, there's no any fine at all, just for the education perspective. If you can put the tools there, that'll be much better for our education process as well. That's my thought. So I hope all the councilors can consider that. So the concerns or the complaints come from residents because it's money, they're gonna pay for it. If we can suspend that payment a little bit longer, that's gonna be another very important, strong education process. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone would like to speak on this second round? Mayor West?
Thank you. Just a couple more things. By my estimation, this vote is probably going to be fairly close, and that's great. We've had a good conversation here, but I think what I'm hearing, and I agree with this 100%, is that no one on this council is saying that we shouldn't be doing it. What we're saying is it's a detail that we're talking about here, and the detail is when. Right? And it's either going to be 365 days earlier or 365 days later, essentially, right? And that's good. I mean, we should be talking about this. The only thing that I think I want to stress is that if this motion fails, the key issue in my mind, based on what I've said just a few minutes ago and right now, is that this is automatic speed enforcement is a divisive issue. There's no question. We have people that like it, people that don't like it, and very few people that are sitting on the fence. But I think it is an important part of our, as I said, of our kind of overall strategy for road safety, which we all know is really, really important. What I think I'm concerned about, and the advantage of delaying this a little bit, is that we have some learning already about the rollout at the region, which, by the way, I don't think was as good as it probably could have been. I'll give, I understand that because, we're doing it kind of, this is uncharted territory. By the time we do it, whether we do it on schedule or we do it a little bit later, we will have some learning. But I think what we need to do is have a rollout within our communities, especially, which is what we're talking about here today, with the absolute best effort that we possibly can from all the learning that we can, all the communication that we can, have a good plan to make sure that this is as positive a rollout and that people understand why this is being done. And the extra time might hopefully give us the time to be able to accomplish that in a very, very good way, because when this is rolled out, there's going to be a lot of people that are likely going to get tickets. They're going to live in that neighborhood and they're going to feel very offended, right? And they're going to be calling us up on council. And I want to be able to, at that time, say, here are the facts. This is everything that we we know about it. And this is all that we've done to make the rollout as effective as we can. So regardless of whether this passes or fails, I would call on staff, and I know that this is in the plan, to bring back a very, very comprehensive rollout plan, very comprehensive communication plan. I want to know exactly what we're going to be doing, exactly when we're going to be doing it, and exactly how we're going to be doing it, because I want to make sure, I mean, really, at the end of the day, the very best outcome of a rollout of automatic speed enforcement would be for no one to get tickets. You know, that would be the very best outcome. And if we do a campaign that's watertight enough, I think the community will understand what we're doing, and they'll accept it. I'll just finish off by saying, a number of years ago, in front of what used to be called Vaughan Secondary School, I was driving, and I was fair distance back from the school, in front of the school, and I saw what I thought, when I was driving that far back, a piece of cardboard coming flying up over the top of somebody's car. But it was a kid, and he was fine. I mean, he got up and walked away. It was a miracle. But I will never forget that image. And and getting back to the statistic that I was, and just to give some context, a YRT bus had stopped in front of the school at the bus stop, and the kid ran out in front of the bus, which is a bad judgment call, no question about it. And that's the reason he got hit. But the driver that hit him wasn't going very fast. And so, this was a lesson learned for the child that got hit, or the young person that got hit. But going back to the statistic I was talking about earlier, if somebody gets hit and a driver is going way over the speed limit, the outcome is very different. And that is the thing that really, at the end of the day, I try to tell people when they call me and they're upset about a ticket, like, if you're going 20 over, you are really substantially increasing the chances of somebody getting really, really seriously hurt. And, given the ticket to encourage you to slow down, or the outcome that might happen if you hit somebody going that speed, the outcome is very, very, very quantum differences between the two. So anyway, I appreciate the conversation from my colleagues, and we'll see where we go from here.
Thank you. Next, we have Regional and Local Councillor DePaula.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I thank my council colleagues for this discussion. There's so many things that were said today that are so right, and we, I think, agree. I think everyone spoke, and I think all 9 of us want speed enforcement cameras, and we want to make our safety zones more safe. We want this to happen, but there's also a lot of good statistics that have come out of this discussion. I would love if our whole community could be privy to the information that we've discussed today before the implementation. I know that from the regional experience, if it's not done right, it's regrettable. I don't want to roll this out in Richmond Hill and have a divisive issue where when you have two sides of residents that feel very strongly on both sides, and there's a lack of education, and there isn't a lot of public process, it's very difficult when you're getting those phone calls from irate residents on one side or the other. We know that our residents want their children to be safe, and they want those community safety zones to be enforced. And I like the automated speed cameras because everyone gets a ticket every time. And it's not, you don't get to play this game in our school zones where I can get away with speeding as long as there isn't an officer around. I really think this is the way to go. There's no question. But I want this council to be armed and ready with information when complaints come forward. I want our residents to really know that we're not making any money out of this. This is not the intention at all whatsoever. I'd really like a lengthy, proper educational process that everyone in our community understands. The goal and the purpose is to control speeds in sensitive areas so that vulnerable people are protected, and to prevent anyone from being hurt. And that's the only purpose. It's not to assist, this city of Newmarket in their efforts. Not there's no profit. There's no things. And the only side benefit, which isn't the purpose, is freeing up our officers for even more community safety. And I think the mayor said that. And I think our residents would just benefit so much more if they understood that. If they understood that it's not the best use of our community resources for YRP to be waiting in hiding on street corners to catch speeders. It's long ago determined that there's much better use for those YRP community safety officers. So that's all. I want there to be unity across the community with this. And I think it'll take time to do it right. Thank you.
Thank you. Second round, Councillor Thompson.
Thank you very much, and through you, the chair. I mean, this has been a very good conversation. A couple of comments that I would like to make, though, is that a lot of our regional roads, for sure, when they were built, they were actually built to accommodate higher speeds. They probably started at 80 kilometers, and over time we've brought them down to 60. But it doesn't mean that the roads can't accommodate the higher speed. So, and the way cars have been built today, much smoother and so forth, I can see where it's easy for people to, if they're not paying attention, to let their speed creep up. And that's the key thing, is that we want to change behaviors. And I think about, anytime somebody gets behind the wheel, they should always be concentrating on their driving, because basically they're driving a loaded gun. This is something that can kill somebody in an instant, and you should be aware of it, keep the safety features on, and do that. And I remember my mother, God bless her, and I was probably 16 at the time and just got my license, but she got her first ever ticket. And she came back and she said, you know what, that police officer did me a favor, because I was not concentrating on driving that vehicle. And she made that very comment about, it's a loaded gun. It's ready to go off at any time. So, from a behavior standpoint, I think we really need to look at it in that perspective, because it's so easy to forget what we're doing, particularly when we're behind the wheel. And we need to change that behavior so that every person that's behind the wheel is always paying attention to what they're doing. One comment that I would like to and I guess this is a comment for staff. The mayor had mentioned earlier that the average ticket was 19 kilometers above the speed limit. So I don't know if that's including the regional roads and our own roads, but that's only regional roads. Would we be able to get that data just for our roads, excluding the regional roads, to find out what that average might be?
Through the chair to Councillor Thompson, where we can gather that data is where we have our pole-mounted radar board messages. And on those areas where we select on an annual basis, we've also increased that program based on one of the recommendations from the traffic safety operations strategy to have more of those radar message boards. And that's how we can track in those locations where we place them, what the average speeds are, the low, the high, the median, and so forth.
Right. So I guess where I'm going with this is that if we're trying to make sure that we're going to roll this out correctly, and we talked about the grace period, my take personally, and you can take this away as a comment, is that I don't believe that we should have full grace for the speeders. So if somebody is going beyond that average speed in our roads, so let's say it was 12 kilometers over the speed limit, well, I'm sorry, you're getting a ticket. forget the notification period for those people. It's only for the ones that, during that first, whatever it is, 3-month period, that would be. So take that as a comment, but that would be my take on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone would like to speak on the second round before I call the vote? Seeing none, I assume someone would like the recorded vote because it looks close to me. So if nobody asks for a recorded vote, I'll ask for a recorded vote. Okay, all right.
Thank you. Voting on the motion by Regional and Local Councillor DePaula, Councillor Liu.
No.
Thank you. Regional and Local Councillor DePaula.
Yes.
Thank you. Councillor Shu.
No.
Thank you. Regional and Local Councillor Chan.
Yes.
Thank you. Councillor Silovitz.
Yes.
Thank you. Councillor Davidson.
No.
Thank you. Councillor Thompson.
No.
Thank you. Mayor West.
Yes.
Thank you. Councillor Tree.
No.
Thank you. That motion fails to carry.
Thank you. All right, so our last item is 12.2, member motion by Councillor Davidson. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Just to cut to the chase, this is a motion that says while hybrid meetings where councillors can be remote are a great supplementary tool, that this motion would require members of council to attend all regularly scheduled council and committee of the whole meetings of the city of Richmond Hill in person, and then permit 3 council meetings and 3 committee of the whole meetings that councilors can attend virtually. And then if you're ill or there are inclement weather and people can't make it, that those are also a great reason to do things remotely. But overall, we come to council meetings in person. And this is something I've heard from residents. They want to see us here. I know that it says a lot about our transparency, about how professional we are. It increases civic engagement. When residents come with delegations, they almost always want to talk to us afterwards, which we're happy to engage. It gives us all an opportunity to meet with staff and build rapport and find out more questions without 10 emails back and forth. It also helps us to meet each other. And I think this council works extremely well together, and the personal interaction just adds to that. But mostly it's because it's what residents want. And I hope there'll be support for it. It's not a complete no to virtual, but it lets residents know that we're all planning to come. And then if there are mitigating circumstances, there are options to still come, but not be in attendance. And I hope my colleagues support it. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have 12.2 moved by Councillor Davidson on the floor. Next speaker is Councillor Silovitz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you to Councillor Davidson for bringing this forward. I have a few questions regarding the actual motion in front of us. Mr. Clerk, could you put it on the screen, please? Thank you. Okay. So I'm not in disagreement with what Councillor Davidson is saying, and I absolutely understand why this is being said, and I support that. However, I think there are too many unknowns here that could negatively impact something like this. So, for instance, just speaking about myself. So everybody knows I have long COVID. Everybody knows it's a problem. It's taken me at least 3 years to get used to it, but it will still sometimes hit me, and I can't come in. I can do my job, but I'm at home. So that's critical for me. And also, as the chair of the Accessibility Advisory Committee, thinking of anybody who has a health problem or an accessibility problem, that must be taken into effect as well. So that's number one. And then number two is, who are the police here? How do we police something like this? So it's all very well to say that we have three days for this and 3 days for that, but What if there's a fourth or a fifth? So it's not in our code of conduct, and the clerk certainly is not our police. Neither is the mayor or our esteemed Madam CAO, city manager. So our police are the residents. And our residents, if they are dissatisfied with our attendance at council meetings, albeit I know that when you look on the screen, like for instance today, everybody can see Councillor DePaulo on their screen here and at home. You know that Councillor DePaulo is there, and you can see me because I'm talking, and you can see the chair. But the wide feed screen, which I'm very grateful for, is still very, very small, and you can't really tell, I'm here, you know, you can't really tell who's there and who isn't. It is our duty to attend council and committee meetings. That is why we were elected. So perhaps what we could look at is including this in our pledge when we are elected, our inaugural pledge, that it's really up to the councillors, it's up to the elected person to ensure that you are coming to your council meetings, that you are attending your committee meetings. So my concern is with that as part of it. So I would say that perhaps it could be included in the pledge in the next term of council, because we're now chronologically, we're in the middle of our third year. So that was one thing. What if it's a code of conduct? What if it's included in the code of conduct? Then how is that policed as well? It would certainly be better policed than if it's not in the code of conduct. But then what happens? What's the negative impacts? What are the consequences? There's that. So it's just, I believe that it's up to us. It's the onus on us as elected representatives of the people to attend our council meetings and to attend our committee meetings. And if we're not here, there should be a very, very good reason why we are not here. We're ill, or the weather, or we're away, or our car broke down, or we can't get here. There's so many variables. I think they must be taken into account. We got a letter from a resident who made some very good points as well, and I want to thank her for that. So I would look forward to hearing the discussion at the bench. And we'll see where we go with this. But those are my immediate thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Councillor Shiu.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And first of all, I agree with the principle of this motion behind. And I most likely will support this motion, but not 100% at this point, because I want to clarify some details with Councillor Davidson. I think details does matter in this motion. First of all, is the budget committee meeting included? Because since all of us are the members of budget committee, and it shares a similar nature as a cow meeting. So I just want to clarify: is the budget committee meeting is included as well, because it's similar nature. Yeah.
Councillor Davidson.
Thank you for the question through you, Mr. Chair. No, these are just the council meetings on Wednesday mornings, one a week. Either the council committee meeting or the council meeting itself, and all the other committee meetings, and even the public council meetings in the evening are not on this, are not listed.
Yeah, but I would suggest to include the budget committee meeting as well, because it's shared a similar nature. All of us are the members of budget committee. Why it's not included as well? So we have to work on more details of this motion, I would say. And I will give you a suggestion. I'm not going to amend this motion because I don't want to steal your show, but I would say I would suggest you to amend some of the details. And the secondly, just want to clarify one more thing. Can the 3 virtual meeting quotas be used without a reason? Or are they reserved for medical or under bad weather situation? Can you clarify about this?
Thank you for the question through you, Mr. Chair. So those are just discretionary. If you know you have to be somewhere else and it's unavoidable, then you don't owe anyone an explanation. These are just, what I'm trying to do here is set a benchmark that our starting point is coming. And then if there are other circumstances, I mean, 3 is an arbitrary number. If you want to change that number, if you want to make the amendment about the budget committee, I mean, we all came yesterday. I'm not on that committee, but we're all really invested, right? So it's more, and of course it's the honor system. There is no policing of anything. I just think I'm trying to send a message to the public that says, we believe we should be here for you. This is where you'll see us every Wednesday morning for whichever meeting, and we're committed to that. There's no policing or anything, and it's not binding. It's more just a statement. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so if it's not a non-binding, what if someone ends up needing more 3 virtual meeting spots? Is there any kind of penalty or something like that if we need 3 or more quotas for virtual meeting?
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Clerk, we discussed this a little bit. There's no actual, tell us what the issue is with any kind of enforcement.
Through the chair, the councillor and I discussed, enforcement is probably one could say the most challenging aspect of this. This is council's procedure bylaw. This is the expectations that council sets for themselves. It would be for council to decide how to enforce its rules. And that's consistent with the procedure bylaw, which says that council can waive certain rules. For instance, so if we use this as an example, it would certainly be council's ability to say, yes, that's fine. So I'll just say that this is council's procedure bylaw. It governs your meetings. It governs your behaviors at these meetings, and it would be up to council to decide on those matters.
Okay, so in my opinion, if there's no any mechanism or policy to execute the 3-time quota, it makes no sense. Because I can just ask for a quota anytime and there's no penalty for us, doesn't make no sense. That's my comment. And also how to define bad weather. Is there any definition of bad weather, or like a 5 cm snowfall, a snowbank just blocked my driveway so I can't come out, something like that? Or a medical appointment, do I need to provide any doctor's note? So I think if we set the rules to set 3-time quotas, we have to think more details, how to execute it, to make this motion make sense and understand and easy to manage and easy to make all of us to follow this this motion behind. And I think the principle behind is good, but I think we have to work on further on how to execute and make it as a good cause. And also, could we add 2 more reasons? I suggest caregiving. The first one is caregiving. I think it's also a very good reason to ask for a virtual meeting. Caregiving responsibility, and touch wood, if there's any urgent family matters, like touch wood, if any family members passes away and need to attend a funeral outside of Canada, it needs more longer time to have a virtual meeting. So how to make that? Is there any proof to provide to the clerk? Something like that. Yeah, so I would say we have to think more details about to execute this motion. And then one last point, in some cases, we have a prolonged meeting. Even we have to prolong the meeting in the afternoon. So if someone can attend the meeting in the morning, but due to other commitments, can only join virtually in the afternoon, and when the meeting resumes after lunch. So would it be considered as using 1 quota? I think we have to think more details to make this motion more sense, more making sense. That's my comments. And I would most likely support your intention and the principle behind, but we have to think more details. That's my comment in this round. Thank you.
Thank you. So next we have regional and local councillor DePaula.
Mr. Chair, I like the motion. I'm gonna support it, and it's good points from Councillor Shu. Those are all, it's all valid considerations, but I think this is signaling and an intention to to get back to in-person meetings. City Hall is created for a reason. There was never hybrid meetings before. It was born out of necessity, but it's not something that should be leaned on. And the wording of the motion is pretty clear. It's just not to be abused. You don't don't take advantage of the hybrid opportunity. You definitely can if it's an emergency, a necessity, up to 3 times is, it's very reasonable and normal. I trust the clerk will come back with a procedural bylaw, amendment that captures that intent. Obviously, members of council can't be required to do anything. There's no, but whatever they do, they're going to be judged for it. And, but there's also a perception, about how we conduct ourselves because we're leaders and we want to send a message to all the people that work for the city of Richmond Hill and to our residents in general that we are committed to going back to showing up in person and dealing with the business of the city in person. But the virtual option is there in emergency and helps with greater participation in the case where there's medical or other reason to do so, and also in the case where happens a lot of times you can attend a portion of the meeting in person and then and still if you have to leave you can still you can still tap in and virtually not miss any portion of the meeting. So there's a lot of advantages to virtual. I think this motion is just that it shouldn't be abused by members and instructs the clerk to write a procedural bylaw that just states that clearly, so we're all on the same page. And I support the motion in that sense.
Thank you. Councillor Thompson.
Thank you very much. Through you, the chair. I want to get some clarification on what the current policy and procedure is in around attending virtually. So my understanding at this point was that if someone could not attend for whatever reason, they're to notify the clerk's office in advance, and I'm not sure what the timing was for that. But if I could just get some clarification on what the current policy and procedure says, it would be appreciated.
Mr. Clerk.
Thank you. Through the chair, I'll just summarize instead of reading the provisions. Under Article 12 of the procedure bylaw, specifically Section 12.3, members have the choice of whether they want to participate in council or committee of the whole meetings in person or electronically or virtually, if you want to call it that. The only requirement is that the chair must be in person, and that's for administrative operational requirements. And that if members are choosing to participate virtually, they are supposed to give us notice 3 days before the meeting. I do gently remind members sometimes when we fail to get that notice. And we'll even, we're okay, a couple days before. And that's mostly for administrative reasons as well. So we're planning around the technology operations.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. So through the chair, yeah, I'm not sure that 3-day notification is realistic, but certainly providing notification in advance and what the reason is certainly makes sense. I also like the idea that should be in conjunction with the mayor and clerk in that particular case. So I'm certainly like 1C here. 1A, just for some clarification, when I first read this, I looked at this as just being the 3 council meetings, the council public meeting, council meeting, or the committee of a whole. That's how I interpreted that Was that the intention?
Thank you for the question. I didn't put public on there because I do think evenings are different for people, for council. And if you're the guy in the house and the kids are upstairs doing their homework, it's very difficult. I did leave that, but I'm happy to add it. But yeah, it was, sometimes we're here till 11 o'clock at night. So I did leave that out intentionally. But most of us still come to the public meetings, so.
Yeah, so I mean, that was the one where, you know, the public, because that is one of the ones where the public gets to engage, I would have thought that that was the case here. So if you were willing to do a friendly amendment and say include the council public meeting, I would certainly be all over that. There was some question about other committees, whether it be accessibility committee or so forth. And correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Clerk, but we already have policies and procedures for each one of those committees, do we not?
Thank you. Through the chair, for all other committees, what you might call advisory committees or task force, the Article 12 of the procedure bylaw provides that they choose to be fully in person or fully virtual. Hybrid is not allowed for those, and that's administrative reasons, because to operate technology, et cetera. So those committees themselves choose fully in person or fully virtual. Accessibility has more flexibility to comply with the AOD Act. We need to ensure that we are providing them every opportunity to meaningfully participate to comply with our obligations under the Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act.
Appreciate that. So for me, it comes down to item B, and I appreciate that, you know, looking to set a benchmark here, but quite frankly, in my opinion, the benchmark should be we attend. You know, I'm not even sure why we want to say, well, you can have 3 where you don't have to attend. I really look at it from the standpoint that the intention is that you're to attend, and if you can't, then you go to item C, and that would cover as to why you're not attending. I'm not really looking at it so much in terms of, you know, we start keeping a score. I think the whole intention is that we should be attending, and there should be a very valid reason as to why. And there's a lot of people have actually said here a lot of the valid reasons, which is fine to me. You know, I think you know, that would be the optimum approach in my mind. So those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. So next is Mayor West.
Thank you. So I'm actually going to propose a compromise here that I hope will help. But before I do that, I think I just want to stay out. I do appreciate the motion because I think that, you know, in my mind, and particularly somebody that's been through COVID on council, I welcome the fact that we're back in person. I think we make better decisions. And this council in particular has worked really, really well together. I'm very proud of that. And a lot of it is the fact that we are able to be here in person. And I think you get better decisions by being together in the same room for the most part. But I also acknowledge, and this motion does acknowledge, that, you know, sometimes things come up and we do have the technology tool available to us now that is virtual. I mean, I'll never forget the first meetings in COVID that we had that were like that technology was not solidified and it was hard, but now it's very, very commonplace and it is a good tool. So I really appreciate the spirit of what's being tried to be accomplished here. But I think, you know, there is no way to enforce this. And, you know, and that's fine, you know, to a large degree. But I also want to avoid the possibility that not on this council, but maybe at some future time, that that this whole thing gets weaponized, right? And that's a problem too, you know, because I don't think there's any way to make very clear enforcement rules around this, and I just don't see any way we can do that. And you acknowledge that, Councillor, and I appreciate that. And I also want to just say that, you know, the expectation is that we should be here. It's part of our job, and you know, as much as we possibly can. And the public, at the end of the day, every 4 years does a job evaluation on all of us, and it's really going to be them that really enforces, quote unquote, what they see as, the types of things that they want to see in their elected representatives. So with that said, I wonder if the compromise could be to just simply change the word in A to require, and change the word require to it is the expectation that members of council attend, because that really is what I think we're all struggling with here, is that we are expected to be there as much as we possibly can. When we're not there, periodically, every now and again, when something comes up, and family emergencies are actually something that's a good point. Who knows what life throws at you. But if you're not feeling well, if you're not able to be here for reasons like that for a few times, we understand that. That's fine. So I wonder if that would be a friendly amendment that could be made to just change that. And if that does happen, Mr. Clerk, it's still not enforceable. But in fact, it's the enforcement piece really isn't necessarily going to be that big an issue, because it's pretty obvious that we're not going to be able to enforce it. Does that make sense, Mr. Clerk?
Mr. Clerk?
Thank you, through the chair. Certainly, this, as I said, this is council's procedure bylaw. I think, if it's council ultimately wants to soften the language in here, or to set this as an expectation as opposed to a rule, staff will draft the amendments to the procedure bylaw accordingly. I would just ask for clarification. So if the intent is to make this just an sort of an expectation, setting out an expectation, would the same the same numerical values or anything, or additional attendance, virtual attendance, would those apply, or just simply, because I think that's an important piece of the puzzle in crafting? Yeah.
So I guess, it's a good question. I guess really at the end of the day, we could probably get rid of B and C given what I'm suggesting, but B and C also do kind of set out further define the expectations. Like when we say the expectations, we don't mean under all circumstances absolutely no matter what, you have to be there. We are making reasonable allowances when people can't be there, and that's kind of what B and C say. Now, I'll leave that up to the mover, but I think that if, this really at the end of the day in the procedure bylaw, you can put it in whatever form you see fit, Mr. Clerk, but it's almost a preamble. And I do like the idea that Councillor Silivit said that really maybe in the next term of council, the best way is to put this in a council pledge, because maybe that's really where it belongs. But, we're halfway through the term now, so maybe this is the kind of the stopgap measure. Anyway, I don't know if Councillor Davidson, if you would be okay with that. If so, you could do that in an effort to be helpful.
Exactly. We don't have a friendly amendment. So is it a formal amendment from the mayor and we need to vote on that, or just the mover can just change the wordings? For you, Mr. Clerk.
Thank you. Through the chair, a friendly amendment is whatever committee decides a friendly amendment is, and if the mover is proposing on the advice of the mayor to sort of make just some general changes here and committee doesn't object, that's okay.
Okay. Sounds good.
But kind of have to leave it up to the two of them.
Okay. And Councillor Davidson, are you happy with changing the wordings on A?
Yes, could I speak to that without it being my last chance? Is this my second round?
Not yet.
Okay. Yeah, I'm fine with that. It's the spirit of the thing. And I'm okay with getting rid of B too and just keeping C, because I only put B in there to get you guys to do it. So if you guys are, if we're softening the language a little bit, the expectation, we shouldn't go further than that. So I agree. B goes too, and would never want to punish or penalize somebody who's not well. So we keep C. Thank you.
Okay, so just change the word required to it is expected. Yeah.
Are you going to get rid of B?
Yep, get rid of B.
And get rid of B. Thank you. So we're still on the first round and we're gonna wait until the motion is on the screen. And then the next speaker is Regional and Local Councilor Deputy Mayor Chan. Just one, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, don't worry about it. It'll be fine. You captured what you're set out to capture, I think, by doing it that way. And it's a good point.
Okay, council members, please take a look at the screen. Honestly, I don't see it as a minor change. So because I don't want to restrict other council members to comment on this and go straight to the second round and then they can't speak again. With your advice, Mr. Clerk, is it better to have someone to move an amendment on this one? So that we can start discussing this amendment first, because I expect there might be more amendments coming.
Thank you. To the chair, who is the chair, if you believe that procedurally this would be better presented as an amendment to change language, that's absolutely your right to do so. And I would just then remind that there is then one opportunity of 3 minutes for each member of council to speak to the amendment before we would get back to the motion.
Yeah, that's exactly one, because you're getting rid of B. If you're just changing the words from required to an expectation, that's different. So
I would move it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So Mr. Mayor is moving an amendment on this one. And speaking to the amendment, Councilor Davidson.
Thank you. Can't we just say it is the expectation that you'll come to council, like but not enforceable? I don't know, that just totally guts it. Let's just say it, that members of council are expected to attend. And that virtual attendance, and I don't know what the acknowledge is. Like, it feels like those bold buts and to acknowledge really water it down. The expectation is that you come in person, and that if virtual is still available for medical inclement, I don't know what another valid reason would be. Now it's getting lost.
Okay, can
I make a respectful point of order?
Councilor Sivits, point of order.
Very respectful point of order. Don't do this. But I think to help all of us, especially the mover of the motion and our clerk, perhaps we should defer this to next week. Don't vote on this now. Just leave it as it is. Defer to next week, and that will allow. Although I can see our clerk's face is a little bit not happy with that, because we now have an amendment in front of us. But we can work on that. Defer this to our council meeting next week. There's a lot of questions, a lot of discussions still to have, I believe, with our mover, and discussions with our clerk, and the mayor. So I think if we give ourselves another week without voting on this at all, perhaps when we come back next week to council, through the onus of Councillor Davidson, she will have different wording here, and that can be put forward. So, Mr. Clerk, is that possible through you, Mr. Chair? I know it's a long point of order, but
thank you. Through the chair, certainly if committee wants to refer this without recommendation straight to council, that's absolutely your right, and we've done that for other items. The only thing I would clarify to comply with the open meeting rules is that this would be essentially for the mover and myself to work out what they might wish to bring forward. But I would kindly request that the majority member of councils from refrain from providing me suggestions because we don't want to be making decisions
Absolutely.
outside of the public realm.
All right, so, well, okay, so that's a point of order. That's not a motion to refer. So we're still speaking on the amendment. Okay, so I would rather we finish this amendment discussion than if someone wanted to, I don't know if you can refer an
So-
amendment.
So at this point, if I defer it, do I make a deferral? Does that stop what's happening? Through you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. So, as you know, obviously it's up to the chair. I would advise that you were given the floor for a point of order, which is to enforce a rule, not to make a motion at that point in time.
Okay.
Pursuant to the procedure bylaw, a member needs to have the floor for essentially anything but a point of order so during your speaking time to make that motion. So.
Got it. The chair already has me down for a second round. Thank you.
Right, okay, sure, yeah, now, then let's speak on the amendment first, and, you know, I rather we have a motion on the floor than we are referring an amendment to next week, so, all right, so, Councilor Davidson, you have the floor, you still have the floor.
Well, I'm confused. So I gave my opinions about the amendment. I think the bold letters, I'm not in favor of that. So is this where I would move to defer or refer or whatever so that we can really hammer down wording that we can all live with? Is this the wrong time? Because I honestly think that's where we're headed. So why debate this?
Okay, Mr. Clerk, so, is it possible to refer an amendment to next week? I found it really odd, so.
Yeah, so certainly my advice would be not to do it that way, to refer
Agreed.
amendment. What my advice would be to refer the whole item directly to council for provide additional time. If I might suggest, because it actually might be helpful, if that is council's intent to refer this, and this is simply my advice, you actually might want to allow the discussion on this amendment to clarify what members are thinking before referring it, which if council referred it, then we'd have some opportunity to clarify what wording might meet those expectations.
Okay, gotcha. So if that's the will of council to refer this to next week, I think, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, if Mayor West would like to withdraw the amendment, then someone move a referral. How's that? Sounds good? All right, thank you very much. So, Councilor Webb, would you like to withdraw your amendment? Okay, so we have the main motion on the floor. Actually, on the second round, the first speaker is Councilor Davidson. So would you like to oh, sorry. We still have my apology. So we still have regional and local Councilor Chen on the first round. So you can move a referral motion if you want. Yeah.
Depending on whether we are having a referral motion or not, because otherwise maybe a bit premature. So if it make it easier, that I respect the mover's spirit, I got it. Now, the mover appears to be agreeable, willing to defer to next Wednesday. I can move it, but if it's more appropriate, I respect it's her motion, then for her to maybe we defer it, maybe more
doesn't matter.
appropriate. Okay, but if that's the case, I stick my neck out, as sometimes I do. I will stick my neck out, and then I will move the defer motion of the whole motion, member motion, to next council meeting and give us a week to further consult, collaborate, and discuss, and so on. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. So we have a motion to refer this to next council. Anyone would like to speak to the referral? If not, I'm going to call the vote and we all see each other on next Wednesday. Okay, Councilor Davidson.
I just want to make one comment. Please, council members, my colleagues, please share with me on an individual basis your thoughts so that we have something that we can all live with and support.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to call the vote on the referral to next week. All those in favor, carry unanimously. Thank you very much. Can I have a motion to adjourn?